Cardfight. Well, that was embarrassing. I lost. Well, then again, I was defeated by an over trigger, which fair enough, I defeated my last guy in the last video due to an over trigger. So, I guess what goes around comes around. There were some mistakes I committed in the play itself as well as the deck build, so which I will address and will improve upon it, so that at least in the future, say the BT08 budget play video will have better improvements and less screw ups. So first things first, as always, like this video, sub to this channel for more budget play videos on Cardfight Vanguard, so that you can still be awesome at Vanguard without having to bust your wallets running only single res and common cards. So without further ado, let's go through the deck list, and then we'll workshop on what went wrong and what can we improve upon. Oh yeah, let me just fix my camera. Yeah, my camera positioning here we are. Anyway, right line, nothing's changed thus far. Still running on the Youth Berg right line here, from Youth, from basically Youth Grade 1 to 2 and all the way to Grade 3 Youth Berg. Unfortunately, we cannot afford Skyfall arms because it's a triple R, so we'll just further on with the Trial Deck Youth Berg itself, which is still okay in the way I see it. So nothing's changed. Put it over here. Next up, okay, now here's the thing I would strongly say this myself. Youth Berg in its current form, which is running only cards from trial decks, is unfortunately a turn 4 deck. Now there are ways that you can turn a trial deck only deck into a turn 3 deck, but that requires extra maneuvers in which I might experiment on something in the future. I need to run some theories first. If it works, it works. Then I'll share to you guys in an upcoming video. If it doesn't work, well, looks like I've accidentally wasted money on resources that I don't own. Anyway, so run extra copies because you can how to put it, you can bring up Youth Berg's full potential in this form by persona riding, pushing aside the extra draw and front low plus 10,000 power, and the extra grade 3 into the soul. There are basically in this form you're only relying on Zest to push pressure against opponents. So 3 extra copies of Zest. Next up, 3 extra copies of Protofall arms. Next up, 4 copies of Zest, because this is the only revolve form that you can afford, even though it's kind of not fancy, but the extra 15k and 1 crit is excellent in its own right. However, you only can access the extra crit if you have Persona Road in when you revolve from this. When you revolve dress this. So that kind of sucks. So no change here. You run 4 copies of Zest, unless in future there are cheaper versions of revolve forms. Then I'll be very happy to change Zest for something else. Next up, the ever so embarrassing 2 copies of Catwalla. Now if you can muster up some cash to buy an extra trial deck, then yes, go for 4 copies of Catwalla because it's so helpful. But in the meantime, just run 2, just because that's what I can personally afford. Now, a card that I actually enjoy in BT7, which is the single R Divine Sister Vanguard chart. Yeah, I think that's how it's pronounced, Vanguard chart. So its ability, if you have a Grade 2 greater card inside your soul, it gets boost and plus 5,000. So this also applies during your opponent's turn. In other words, it becomes a 15k base unit even during opponent's turn and allows you to boost. So you don't actually have to worry about about supporting units on your back row to power up your front row, because this, my friends, is a good card if you want to run a budget Youth Berg. And I wholeheartedly encourage you guys to run 4 copies of the thing. This is so helpful. So done with that. Next up, 4 copies of Vreed, just because this itself is a free 10k shield as long your Vanguard has Youth in its name. So you know this already. I've played this in the last video. Next, one of my few interesting common cards I found in BT07, the Knight of Demolition, Maradu. What can Maradu do? When the attack hits a Vanguard, choose one of your opponent's rear guard and put it to the bottom of your deck. This works as a great field rear guard removal because again, Cattle Sanctuary does not have any retire engine, pushing aside Blaster Blade and Blaster Dark. This is good to just to clear off your opponent's board for units that can be quite cumbersome. However, the problem that retains here is that this is a 10k base unit, so you might want to opt it for a different card that has more power, but its on-hit ability is just too good to be ignored. So no, 3 copies should fair enough. Sentinel, I mean, okay, I guess cards after this, there's nothing much to say about because same thing for 3 copies of Sentinel and 1 copy of the older Sentinel, which you get if you're up against any cards that can grant their Vanguard triple drives. 4 copies of Factil. However, at this state, I might want to change it to something else, which can grant more power to not just to your Vanguard but to your rear guard as well, which I will share to you guys a little bit later after this. Trigger lineup as always, one over trigger because you're only allowed 1 over trigger, 8 critical triggers, 3 draws just because you lack the draw engine. Yes, you may run either 3 or 4 draw triggers, but I digress. You have a decent filter engine, which I feel that you don't really need to run more draw triggers because you want to finish up your game quickly, so might as well run only 3 draw triggers. Unless you have a great draw engine, then yes, please opt for front triggers instead. 4 heal triggers unless you want to go crazy. Now, the order card, Skyfall Fury. You're limited to only being able to search out for Zest, which is kind of bad because in case that you run out of Zest from your deck due to being in the damage zone or being in your hand early game, this won't be much of help. However, see, just like Factil, I might have a different card that I want to replace it with. Oh hey, another Sentinel, which you already know its own purpose. Now, suggestions to change Factil and Skyfall Fury. You might, okay, I think I played this in the previous video and I opted for Skyfall Fury again because I thought that I need to have Zest earlier, but turns out I don't really need Zest early because I end up having a dead card which I couldn't defend myself against. So might as well exchange Skyfall Fury with Departure Towards the Dawn, just because you can either A, use it to search up your revolve forms, in other words in this deck only Zest, or you can fill up your field with useful grade 2 or less rear guards. And the best thing is that it's not limiting to top 3, but you can check, basically you're allowed to check the top 5 cards of your deck. So this is helpful to fill up your fields with offensive or defensive units that can at least help you to prolong the game against your opponent. So exchange Skyfall Fury with 2 copies of Departure Towards the Dawn. And for Factil, I might want to suggest, or I might want to recommend you guys to swap over Factil for 4 copies of Menacing Tiger. This is because Menacing Tiger has a much more higher base power of 8k, which can easily grants you a nice boosting power that can hit your opponent with magic numbers 18, 23, 28, 33 and so forth of any multiples of +8. So I may consider changing to Menacing Tiger just because it has more power than Factil. Yes, Factil is a free cost, but it only works if you discard during your right phase. Now this one works when you discard it during your turn, regardless of the phase. So at least it's helpful for the time being until we find a better substitute for neither Menacing Tiger or Factil. So I guess that should be it. Now again, like I mentioned in the last 2 videos, I'm running cards from BT6 and BT7, all ranging from commons and single rares only. If you have any suggestions from for other common cards and single rare cards from previous sets, BT1 or all the way to BT5, or even some promo cards, please let me know in the comment section below. I appreciate if you all help me to improve this deck even further, so that at least it can help you guys and other players who are aspiring to play Vanguard at a low budget and still be awesome at it. So as always, thanks again for watching my video. Give a subscribe to my channel, like this video, share this to other aspiring Vanguard players who want to enjoy the game at a low budget. And yeah, take good care of yourself. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.